Very excited for our next guest, Bucky. We was the first pick in the 2001 NFL Draft. 15 years he served as a quarterback in the National Football League. Michael Vick is joining us. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing? Both of y'all. Good to
Great,
see you.
man.
Oh
Great to have
shoot,
you on.
we
Good,
cannot
good.
complain. I want to jump. I want to jump right in with you, man, because I want to go back to a game. This is 2016. This is Louisville against Florida State, and that was kind of the coming out party for Lamar Jackson, just running up and down the field against the Seminoles. And then you fired off a tweet during that game, which kind of I think that really put Lamar Jackson on the map when he got the full endorsement. You see it right here from Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson, 5 times better than what I was at VTech. Enough said. Hashtag future. Was that the first time you had seen Lamar play, and what was your impression the first time you saw him on the field?
Yeah, well, I had heard about Lamar on several occasions, and that was the first day I was actually in the house on a Saturday watching college football, and I happened to catch Louisville and Florida State. And I could not believe what I had seen. I could not believe the things that he was able to do. It was a spitting image of me. And the only thing that came to my mind was this kid is 5 times better than what I was when I was at Virginia Tech, only because he was doing it against Florida State. And I remember, how difficult it was for me to move the chains against Florida State. What effort had to be put into getting first downs, scoring touchdowns, hanging with them, pretty much going wide to wide. And I see this guy go in there and just annihilate these guys from the start of the game to the ending. And I just thought it was impressive. So, the hashtag future was something that I felt like, needed to be said at the time. He needed to be paid attention to, and his game really showed that he had what it takes to play on the next level, even at that time.
I think I know your answer, and you're going to be in agreement with the two guys you're talking to here. But this kid is he's a quarterback, correct, Michael?
Yeah, he's a quarterback. I've been hearing about things been thrown out there about him playing receiver, and they'll probably say he needs to play defensive back next. But listen, the kid is 6'3", 215 pounds. I know the hashes are wider in college football, so it creates a little bit more space in terms of running with the football and stretching the field, moving the pocket. But for anybody to say that Lamar Jackson is a receiver, um, I don't think they understand the quarterback position. I don't think they appreciate the value that can be brung from the quarterback position. Uh, it was just kind of mind-boggling to me to hear that. And I can understand why those type of things can be said because people don't know him. They haven't sat down with him in the film room. They haven't talked to him and had discussions with him. They're only going off what they hear, and you can't live in this world going off what you hear. I know perception, outweighs reality, pretty much, 100% of the time in this world. But you got to give the kid a chance. He's a quarterback, hands down. If I was a GM, I would draft him. Whether it's the first round or fourth round, you look at all the quarterbacks coming out in the draft, they're all projects. Nobody's guaranteed to do anything.
Mike, as one of the guys who kind of like ushered in this new movement of mobile quarterbacks or athletic playmakers that can affect you not only as a passer but as a runner, what advice would you
Yeah.
give to Lamar in terms of making the transition from a college playmaker that was a dual threat to being a little more traditional at the position as a pro?
Well, I think first and foremost, uh, take into the understanding that, you're going to the next level. And it's not about all about your athletic ability. It's about the competence that you have once the ball is snapped. I think his focus needs to be centered around learning NFL concepts. Right now, even if he's not signed with the NFL team, even if he's going through the pre-draft process, this is the time to call up various quarterback coaches, include myself, and we have a relationship, and just have me throw some plays out there. Let's sit down and talk through some plays, route concepts, how to call them, how to say them, how to approach the huddle. Those are the things that are going to be the challenges when playing in the National Football League. It's not about your athletic ability of rolling right, rolling left, dropping back, throwing the ball 50, 60 yards. It's about stepping into the huddle, understanding what the play really entails, who's primary, who's secondary, what the checkdowns are, uh, and understanding the position as a whole. It, it's not about running, taking off running and getting 30 or 40 yards or getting 7 yards. The primary goal is to move the chains and be efficient, be a leader. And I think that's what Lamar Jackson has to work on now. Just the verbiage and getting ready to speak the game in the National Football League.
Mike, I know you served as a coaching intern under Andy Reid in Kansas City. Andy Reid did a great job of elevating your game when you were in Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
Now that you've been on that other side, as a coach, what would you think about Lamar Jackson? How would you help him elevate his game?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't start Lamar as a rookie. Whether he goes in the first round, second round, the third round, I think a majority of these guys coming out in the draft, quarterback wise, are project. You let these guys sit for a year or two. Pretty much what uh, Andy Reid did with Patrick Mahomes this year, gave Alex Smith a chance uh, to go out and be the proven leader that he is. Let the young guy learn. It's uncanny what a year in the film room can do for you as a player, for your confidence, and just watching another guy play, you can learn so much vicariously. So my plan with Lamar would be to make sure he has the best mentor in front of him, uh, sit him for a year or two, never know, uh, really critique him in preseason, take his preseason film and build from there. And that's the way it has to be done. Quarterbacks are not always going to be Matt Ryan or Joe Flacco or Ben Roethlisberger, where they can step in their first year and take their team uh, to the NFC or AFC championship game. It's a process, and you have to be patient. And some of these teams don't have the patience, but they have veteran quarterbacks who can lead the way and get the team off to a good start while their younger guy waits in the background and get ready to take the franchise over for the future.
Michael, you said you've got a chance to visit with him. Where is he at right now from a football knowledge standpoint, and maybe compare that to where you were with your knowledge base when you entered the league?
Well, today's times are different. You got guys training all over the place. They're spread out. They're with quarterback coaches. They're with training gurus, so to speak. Uh, all of these guys who are supposed to enhance their intangibles and their attributes, which is a good thing. I think that's what needs to be done. That's the necessity as of right now. In terms of Lamar, I think he's focused on proving to everybody that he's a quarterback, pretty much similar to me when I came out in the 2001 draft. The only thing I was thinking about was how cerebral can I be when I step into the draft room, when I step into the quarterback room on my visits. How am I going to be able to articulate the play calls? How am I going to be able to impress them and show them that I can play above the neck? And that's what's important right now. I think Lamar's focused on that. That's what I focused on, and I've been giving them those little tidbits of advice and small things to do to make yourself an eligible quarterback in this draft, and one that's going to get drafted high like he probably always dreamed about.
A lot of people don't know him well because he's kind of he's quiet and a little bit reserved. Just in your dealings with him and getting close with him, what's the personality of Lamar Jackson like, Michael?
Lamar's a very cool kid, man. He's funny. He's outgoing. You have to get to know him. I think where Lamar's from. It's probably similar to situations of a lot of NFL athletes or players or just people around the world who experience things that they're brought up in and they don't ask for. So he can be reserved at times, but at the end of the day, the kid loves football. His teammates love him. I can see that through just watching various interviews and small just clips on him hanging with the guys and being a great friend, mentor to all the guys around him, making them better in the locker room. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be a great teammate at the end of the day. I think he steps in and if he's willing to learn, he takes on the right attitude, get with the correct coach, the right coach that can help him, take his game to another level. Because sometimes, great coaches, make players great too, make good players great. So I think it's all about the communication process with Lamar Jackson right now, and just having fun, enjoying the whole process because it's not easy.
Mike, you mentioned a point about a great coach can make a good player great. When you look around the league, what do you think the ideal situation would be for Lamar Jackson in terms of team or maybe the coaching staff?
Well, that's tough because I haven't had a chance to think about what was going on around the league. I've been opening up the app on my phone, the NFL app, checking out things that's going on. The season's over, so I kind of left it alone for a minute. But when you look around the league, you look at teams like the New York Jets, uh, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Even though I think Blake Bortles is the starter for 2018 and should be, and he's earned that right. You put a guy like Lamar Jackson around behind Blake Bortles, then I think it enhances Blake Bortles' game, makes him play harder, put a little pressure on him indirectly. But you also got a guy on the bench, coming off the bench, who can be a great reserve, who can come in and pretty much keep the offense going. So I think that has to be the primary goal. But Arizona, and that's a team that's going to need a quarterback. Maybe they get one in free agency. Maybe they draft Lamar Jackson, sit him, and then bring in another veteran. There's tons of guys out there that they can bring in. Nick Foles may be, on the trade block. He may be a guy who Arizona can bring in, and Lamar can be a guy who can sit behind them and have him as a mentor. I did that with Nick, so I'm pretty sure he's ready to do that with the next guy and the next generation, the quarterbacks to come. So it's exciting, man. It's fun to see. I can't wait to see how this draft shapes up, how everything unfolds, and where these guys end up. I'm excited about a lot of them.
I can't let you go without asking you that because you're on the cover of Madden. So many of these guys watched you play with you on the video game. When you look at this next class of quarterback, the Baker Mayfields and some of the other athletic guys, Josh Allen's athletic, Sam Darnold, what is the challenge of being an athletic playmaker and knowing when to use your legs and when to sit in the pocket and be patient and allow the scheme and the play to open up for you?
It's all instinctive. You can't go into a game trying to predetermine that I'm gonna run on second down a majority of the time, or you drop back on first down, you throw an incomplete pass, and it's 2nd and 10, and you predetermine that, okay, on this play I'm gonna just take off and run. Whenever I did that, those were the times where I end up getting sacked or getting tackled for a loss of game. And you got to be instinctive. You just got to play the game. Uh, it's different at the quarterback position because the game is just based on feel. So I would say almost 95% of the time that I ran in the National Football League, it was all on instinct, and I let the pocket dictate what happens. Whether I seen a guy open and I had to get the ball out of my hands and release it, or I just slid up in the pocket and the lane was right there and I felt it. So these guys have to come in, use their athletic ability when needed, and not try to force it.
Mike, last question from me, and this is just selfish because I want to get your thoughts on this. But I started scouting in '03. Bucky started scouting, I believe it was your year that you came out. So I just missed you. And so I reached out the other day. I said, we're going to get a chance to talk to Michael. And I was around you for a couple of years there in Philadelphia and saw the amazing years you had there. But I said, I want to go back to when Mike first started. What was it like? What was your evaluation of him coming into the league? And I got one story from a buddy who was an executive that said, you're on the team planes for another team going across the country. And he said, you always watch the afternoon game if you played an earlier game. And he said, anytime that Michael Vick's game was on, everybody was paying attention. Everybody on the whole plane was watching you. And it was oohs and ahs every time you did something. He said,
TV.
Without question. So you know this. So he said, without question, Michael Vick was the NFL players' favorite player for a decade. Did you sense that? Did you feel that? Did you know that when you were living it?
Absolutely, I felt that. I had a friend that played for the Baltimore Ravens named Cornell Brown, who played at Virginia Tech, who I became close with. And he had told me after the 1999 season that the Baltimore Ravens said if I was eligible to come out as a freshman, they would have drafted me. So I knew that everybody was paying attention. It was more pressure on me coming back into my second year in 2000 when I had the Heisman Trophy that I was gunning for and so many accolades, Big East Player of the Year and the top player in the country. It was a bit more pressure, but I knew every week that all eyes was on me. And I enjoyed that moment. I enjoyed those times, and I feel like I really stepped up to the challenge when it was needed.
Mike, I can't let you go without telling you that when I worked for the Carolina Panthers, you were
We
our
good, baby. I'm here
kryptonite.
all day. Hey, I got
You're
this for.
no, you were our kryptonite. There were so many times I remember when you came back from injury on a Sunday night game and you dove. It seemed like from the 10-yard line to score the game-winning touchdown. Your ability to make plays led John Fox to spend countless hours looking for the next Mike Vick because he was committed to trying to find a running quarterback, a quarterback who could run and impact the game. So, from a personal standpoint, Carolina going down to Atlanta, having to see you play, having to see you run around and make plays and throw it all over the yard, it was tough but exciting in the same place. I can't thank you enough for what you're able to do for the next generation of athletic quarterbacks that have made their way to the league.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what it's about, man. It's about the next generation. And if I can continue to help these guys and put them in position to be successful, then that's what I do.
All right, last question. I promise this is it. I'm going to let you run on this one, Michael. But we started off this interview with the tweet you had where you said Lamar Jackson 5 times better than I was. I'm not sure about that, but I want to get true honesty here. Just a simple one. Who's faster?
I was faster. I'm faster. I was faster in 1999, 2000 than Lamar Jackson, but as of right now. But you know what, man? I had surgery on my ankle a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago. I'm back, probably like 80%. So I'm probably running about a high 4.5 right now, man. It hasn't all diminished. I promise you that. If I get chased, listen. If something happens and I have to run and get away from somebody, I'm gonna get away from them. I'm that fast.
Oh, that's it. That's it. We're ended on that one. Hey, Michael, I know you're busy, man. We appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today. Best of luck, and let's catch up again in the future.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.